TB, yes. From Nigeria, it's important that we must all do a tuberculosis test before you can apply for a visa. You can't walk into any center to do this. There's a designated center at Ikeja in Lagos and at Abuja. So these are the only two places you can go for to have your TB test done. Every other place is counterfeit. So once you get your TB test done, it lasts for 6 months. So that means you have to apply within that period to get your visa. As my colleague said, once you get your visa, you have a visa, hooray, it's time to fly. Please note that it doesn't stop there. You're not entirely free once you've gotten your visa. You still stand the chance to get bounced at the border. So it's very, very important that you also have yourself set. Some people will say that once I apply for my visa, can I leave the funds in my account? Can I? Some people are in luck to get to the border and the embassy border officer does not ask you questions about your funds. But we have some people who at the border, they actually ask them to show their bank statements. I've had the case of someone whose passport was actually held because she couldn't show her funds in her account at the border. Or luckily for her, they had to hold her passports. And the thing now is that the visa on your passport only shows a VIGNET stamp, which gives you 3 months to get into the UK. But the moment you get into the UK, because as part of your visa process, you do a biometrics. So it's when you get to the UK, you need your passport to get your biometrics. So if you're not able to have your passport to get your biometrics, then I don't know, you're done for. Sorry to say. So please, don't take chances. You spend a lot of money to make this work. So I know that it takes a lot to put in money together and even have it there for a very long time and even have to even wait until you cross the border. But then at the end of the day, it's worth it than being bounced at the border because it's found that you wasted your time and you wasted your resources too as well. So once you've successfully crossed the border, as my colleague rightly said, you're allowed to work 20 hours. Your visa allows you to work 20 hours every week every week as a student. But then school holidays, you're actually allowed to work 40 hours. You work 20 hours during school term time, but during holidays, you work for 40 hours. Now, this does not affect you if you have a placement program. Like for some master's program, we have some courses that run for 2 years, 1 year study and 1 year placement. So for that 1 year study, you can do your 20 hours during school term time, and you can do your 40 hours during school holiday. Then after your 1 year study, when you now go into your placement, for some schools, it's paid placement. So you're allowed to work 40 hours. And so you're fine. So if you're traveling with family members, your family members are also allowed to work while you study. So your wife or your husband work for 40 hours. Then your children can go to school if the dependent child age is it's up to 16, 17 years old. So if you have a child who is 17 or 18 years old, they cannot, or especially 18 years old, they cannot travel with you for studies. One thing I forgot to add is this, please, it's very, very important from inception. And what I mean inception is from the time when you start your school application, it's important to declare your immigration history to whoever it is that's assisting you. Mention if you've been refused visa. Please note that if you've not traveled anywhere before, it doesn't affect you. Don't think that either traveling somewhere increases your chances. That's not true. But you need to declare previous histories, previous ban, because to a large extent, it would help the counselor to know how they approach your application to the school and onwards, how they also approach your application to during the visa application process. So please do not disclose anything, please. Be very, very open and transparent when you're applying. So before I go, the big question that people like to ask is, after my studies, what next? Do I come back to my home country and all of that? Thankfully, and at the moment, once you're done with your studies, whether you're going for a BSc, for an MSc, the UK has their post-study work visa, which allows you to work full-time and for 2 years. So it's important that, okay, I'm in the UK, I have my study visa, and my study visa expires my BRP expires in 3 months, for instance. It's important that you apply for this post-study work visa before your current visa expires. And if you have dependents, naturally as well, they would also, once you get your post-study work visa for 2 years, by default, your dependents, wife or your dependent child also gets the visa. So what I advise people is that this is the UK, Canada, US, they all have different postgraduate opportunities. I know that for countries like Canada and US, they would say that once you apply for school, you can apply for post-study work visa, and then thereafter you get your permit. Not really the case for the UK, but it doesn't entirely mean that it's impossible to stay back. Because of the Brexit, for instance, a lot of jobs, a lot of opportunities. I know that a lot of people are keen into healthcare, nursing. Everybody cannot be a nurse. Everybody cannot be a nurse. There are other angles you can key into. There's still business. There's still art. There are like other areas you can key into to stay back. But what I would say is that because when you're studying, for your 20 hours, you only allow some certain kinds of jobs. You only allow menial jobs. But then I would say that once you now start the post-study process and you've gotten your visa for the post-study work visa, you don't need to go back to Nigeria to apply. You can apply within the UK. So once you get this visa, focus on jobs that would branch you tier 2, because when you're on a study visa, you're on a tier 4 visa. But then the moment you press to, or you want to apply for a work visa, then it's tier 2. So check, the UK there actually has a list of if you check their site, they actually have a list of firms who recruit for tier 2. So you can check and see where your skills are needed. And from by, so don't just think that it's only nurses, because really, if everyone is going to be a nurse, who will fall sick? Who will fall sick? Who will they treat? Everyone can be a nurse really at the end of the day. So try to explore other areas during your post-study work time and see whether. So I think that's where I'll drop my mic. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joyce. Thank you, Dixon. Those sessions were really detailed. Apologies, I couldn't come in to introduce you, Joyce. Joyce is the country manager for MOD UK. I had a bit of technical difficulty there, so I couldn't come in. But I know we all have a ton of questions to ask to follow up that, but because we are trying to minimize our time, we are going to have those sessions. You can just put any questions you have in the Q&A box, so we can take them after the session. So we have one more speaker to come. Deomi, she is the International Education Specialist, MOD UK. But you can just drop your question in the chat box for the meantime. Thank you so much, Joyce. Thank you, Dixon.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Deomi. Thank you, Ebere. Hi, Joyce. Hi, Dixon. So they have pretty much said everything. Okay, so what I'm going to talk about is some of the things that you need to know if you're interested in studying in the UK. First of all, like Dixon and Joyce have stressed, is funds, money. Money is very important because it helps you make the decision whether to start the process or not. Now, it's very important that as a student or as a parent, you do your research on the university you want your child to study at, or you do your research at the university you want to study as a postgraduate student, and then you look at the fees before you even make the application. So it's very important to know whether you can whether you can fund that process. It's very important. You don't want to start what you cannot finish. So, and tuition, for instance, ranges from, say, £13,000 upwards. So can you afford that within a period of time? Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to consider before you start the process. For instance, if you are traveling with dependents, For every dependent, there is a living expense expected for per dependent. So if you are traveling with your dependent, for instance, you're traveling with 3 dependents, husband, wife, and 2 children, or wife, husband, and 2 children, that makes it, you have 3 dependents. Now, for each dependent, there's a certain amount that should be in the account for them. So you should have, say, over £6,500 per dependent in your account till so they are going to do till they apply for visa, when they get their visas and all that. So that money should be in the account. All right. Now let me talk about destinations. Now the UK is a combination of 4 countries, like most of us are aware. It's Northern Ireland, we have England, we have Wales, and we have Scotland. So for some people, all they would tell you is that I want to study in London. Like maybe everywhere in the UK is London. Everywhere in the UK is not London, So the UK has 4 countries, and the living expense, like Joyce explained, is pretty different. There's the inside London bureau and outside London. Now, for all these other countries like Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland, they share the same living expense of 9,207. So it's very important that you do your research. For some people who like the fast life, you like where everybody is on their toes. If you're a Lagos person like myself, if you like the Lagos life, London might just be the place for you, However, if you're a conservative person who just wants a quiet, simple life, maybe a place like Northern Ireland is for you, maybe a place like Scotland is for you, maybe a place like York in England is for you. Okay, so let me talk about fees. Now, when you apply to the UK, there are several instrumental payments for different universities. Different universities have different payment plans. Okay, so you need to also check what the payment plan for that university is like. Like Dixon said, you need to have paid up to 50% of your tuition upon enrollment. That's the standard. Before you start classes, you should have paid up to 50% or pay a certain amount. Each university will have, they'll quote it on your offer letter, how much you should pay at what particular time. So if you're paying, for instance, let me give you an example of a university that I know of. If you apply to that university, you're expected to pay a certain amount, say £3,000. However, after you pay £3,000 or work with social services, there are several other careers that are available. All you need to do is to do your research, do your due diligence, and apply for those particular jobs or look into those career paths. One of the trending fields right now is tech. And the universities in the UK and many other universities around the world are blending in parts of tech into their program. You find programs like business intelligence, business analytics, data science, cybersecurity, big data. These are programs that are future forward, and you can explore these areas. Okay, so everybody will not be a nurse, and everybody will not be a social worker. Okay, but you can be something great. Aside from this, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't. If you have that passion to be a caregiver, you have the passion to be a social worker, it's fine. However, not everyone will be able to do this or be able to achieve this. So you need to look at other areas that you can thrive better at. So Joyce talked about CAS. She's already talked about CAS. She talked about bank statements and then what you should expect when you get to the point of entry or the border and the likes. I will talk about, just give me a second. I want to talk about tuition fees. And when people say, I'm looking for cheap tuition. Cheap, if you ask me, is relative. So what is cheap to A may not be cheap for B. So what you need to do is to have a budget. How much am I willing to spend on this particular process? Am I looking at, if I have a budget of 4 million naira, what is 4 million naira in pounds? what can 4 million naira get me? Okay, so you cannot be looking at or you cannot aspire to want to study at a Russell Group University, like say Imperial College or University of York, University of Nottingham, or Queen's University Belfast, and you don't have what they require in terms of funds, except you're looking for a scholarship. And of course, scholarships are not guaranteed, especially the ones from the external scholarship bodies. They are not guaranteed. You are going to apply for them as every other international student. So you're competing with someone from China, from Gambia, from the US, from Canada, for that particular scholarship. So you may not get the award for that particular amount that you seek, which is most likely a fully funded scholarship. Okay. However, for people who actually seek scholarships, most people look at the other path, which is the research path, or they look at PhDs. If you seek such opportunities, yes, you have more chances of getting a funded research program if you're looking at a PhD. However, you need to apply, you need to give it time before you get that. So for some people, it might take 1 year, it might take 2 years, it might take 3 years for them to get the right feedback that they want, or for them to get the award that they seek. So you need to give it time. Let me see. Let me see if I can pick up 1 or 2 things. So for traveling with dependents, Joyce already talked about the age and then talked about. So I want to quickly say this. If you have young children, this is like good news. Your children can actually go to school for free. If you are traveling with young children to the UK, or your children are teenagers, you can actually go to school for free. So that's nice to hear. Yes, so I want to talk about foundation programs for undergraduate students, and probably pre-masters programs for postgraduate students. Now, for foundation, what you require for foundation is pretty simple. You can either attend a sixth form college. I can recommend one, Westerfield College in Nigeria, if you're in Nigeria, and other pathway providers. There's several pathway providers. However, you can attend Westerfield College. Westerfield College is in Nigeria, and it's pretty cheaper than the other pathway providers, and they will give you the same experience you will get if you attend Westerfield and if you attend other pathway providers. Okay, so what you really need if you're attending a sixth form is that you just need maybe your WAEC result, and when you get onboarded, they'll walk you through the entire. It's just like having the year 1 experience. So for most universities, they would take students who have done A-levels or who have foundation diplomas. So foundation is cheaper than doing the A-levels. Okay, so you can want to explore that, because if you don't have A-levels, if you don't have foundation diploma, you may not get a direct year 1 in the UK. Okay, also for pre-masters, this is a pathway to a master's program. Now, for people that are profiled for this particular pathway are third-class graduates, most likely, and HND graduates. So I know Dixon mentioned top-up. Yes, top-up is available, but however, there are some programs that don't have top-up programs. You don't have top-up programs for every course. There are some programs that you have to do a pre-masters for, and there are some universities that might consider a graduate with an HND who has relevant work experience and the likes, and they'll give you a direct master's. That's not impossible, but generally, we most likely will profile such a student for a top-up program in the UK or a pre-masters program in the UK. And the pre-masters is a progression program. So when you're done with your pre-masters, you just progress to your master. Sometimes you get a 1 semester pre-masters, a 2 semester pre-masters, sometimes it might be 3 semesters. It depends on the profile of that student. The admissions team would profile you for whichever route is suitable for you. Okay. Let me see what else I have. Now, I want to talk about a very interesting program. social work. I don't know if Joyce has received like 1,000,000,001 inquiries or requests for social work. I want to study social work. I mean, I have passion for taking care of people, and the oh my, I get it like almost every time. People saying they want to study social work, and they're like, so it's not impossible for you to study social work, but not every university will take applications for social work. Now, for instance, let me just talk about Joyce's school, for instance. They've closed the application for social work before they even started the year. Am I correct, Joyce? Yes. So they ended it. So social yes, so you can see Joyce is nodding her head because that's correct. So social work it's very interesting. It's a great program. However, not everybody will have that privilege to study the program. Okay. And let me talk about the entry requirements. For some universities, you need to have a 2-1 if you're applying for social work. And you need to have done some volunteering, real life volunteering. So some people will bring a doctored CV, bring a doctor recommendation and say, we have volunteered at a hospital or at an NGO if you're applying for social work. And you need to have done some volunteering, real life volunteering. So some people will bring a doctored CV, bring a doctor recommendation and say, we have volunteered at a hospital or at an NGO or at an orphanage and co. You know, that may not work, because if they would want to reach out to them and you did not tell them that they're going to call them, there'll be a problem. Now, for most programs, for most universities, you are required to write IELTS. You are required to provide a test of English. And most likely it's IELTS if you're applying for social work. Most universities will require that. So, but you might have met some of your friends who have said, no, I didn't have to write IELTS. Yes, maybe they didn't have to write IELTS in their time, or that university did not require for them to write IELTS, but you may have to provide IELTS if you're applying for social work. Okay. So someone is saying that I seem to not want to talk about PhD programs. Well, I will talk about PhD programs. Let me just quickly share with you what you need to know if you're applying for a PhD program. Remember, PhD is research, so it is not the same way you have applied for a master's program. You're going to apply for a PhD. For some universities, they can ask you to make a direct application. But generally, you may not be able to make a direct application. You need to have prepared your proposal. Seek out a supervisor. Now, how do you look for a supervisor? If you come to meet me, for instance, I can only guide you. I cannot give you a supervisor. Okay. So you need to go to the university. Now, of course, the university's website, look through the faculty. Now, for most of these universities, they have the staff of the faculty on the website. So look at the profile of each faculty member or each course leader of the field of interest you're applying for, and reach out to them. You can send an email. You can send an email to the faculty introducing yourself. You can just do like a pitch and let them know, oh, hi or hello, my name is so and so. I'm a graduate of this. I'm interested in this, and I would like if you can advise me further, or if you can assist me with assigning me to a supervisor or something like that. Let them know if you require funding for the program, yes or no. Okay, so these are some of the things that you need to know. And like I said, PhD programs take time. It's not like a master's program where you can give it 3 weeks and you get a feedback from this is not an admissions team thing. It's the supervisor or the people, the faculty members or the lecturers or the teachers willing to take on a student and supervise. Remember, the PhD is not for 1 year, it's for about 3 years or more, depending on the type of research. Okay, so I hope that I have answered your question, but of course we can, if you seek more counsel regarding PhD programs, fine, we can advise you further. Okay. So some of the career prospects. There's so many careers, there's so many things you can do. You can even, after your program, like I tell people, you can even after your program leave the UK if you want to leave the UK. Okay, there is nothing stopping you from applying to Germany, for instance, or applying to the US or applying to Canada or to Australia. If you really want to, if you find a good job in those destinations, you can actually go there and work. Okay, so the idea is that you gain that international experience, you have that experience already, you can apply it, you can use it wherever you are. And that's why studying abroad or studying in the UK is very, very good investment on yourself. Now, I want to talk about additional professional certifications to improve or enhance your chances of getting a good job in the UK. Now, let me quickly talk about the program. There's maybe like a human resource program, and then you want to enhance it. You want to boost your portfolio. You can take on short professional courses. You can take project management courses. You can take the ACCA. You can take a lot of professional courses in the UK, and they'll just cost you a token. Okay, take those short courses and add them to your portfolio. It will give you a more robust portfolio and a more robust profile. So if you are someone who is very LinkedIn savvy or something, you can go on LinkedIn, look at the profiles of people of the organizations that you want to work with. Say you want to work with KPMG, for instance, or you want to work with PwC. Look at the profile of the staff. What do they seek at these organizations? Do they require me to have an ACCA? Do they require me to have done this or have done that? Then apply or start those short courses. Okay, you can do so much with your time in the UK. You can volunteer, you can travel, you can be part of a group. Okay, so be part of a team when you're in school. Show them that I can do this. I'm a team player. Okay, these are some of the things that can help you looking out for jobs. And when you go to school, don't just stay, and don't just stay on your own. Go out, mix around, just have fun, and at the end of the day, I know that you have a good time. So I hope that I have responded to some of your questions or some of your concerns regarding studying in the UK, what you need to provide. My colleagues already have extensively explained all that you need to know about it, and I hope this was helpful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deomi. Thank you for that. So we're just going to move on to the questions. There are a couple of questions, although you've answered most of the questions here, but I'm just going to take some of them that I see. So someone is asking if some schools in the UK require proof of funds before releasing a CAS. Joyce, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here. Yes, there are some schools who do require proof of funds before you get your CAS, and then there's some, like we have more schools that actually ask you for your proof of funds before CAS, and schools who don't. Just very few of them that do not ask for this. So yes, to that question.
Okay, all right. I'm just going to take the questions as they come. Someone is asking how a parent with a child of over 18 years can take their child to the UK after studying. I'm guessing this is in regards to the that part where we are talking about dependents.
Oh yeah. Well, the option for a child above 18 years old would be for them to apply as a student. That's the only option. Of course, you don't want to leave your child back in Nigeria, but you want to travel. So the only thing they can do is apply for a study visa as a parent is student. That's the only option.
Okay, all right then. Okay. Let me see. I'm just scanning through the questions. Okay, I can see one saying, can someone who did environmental science apply for a tech-related course in master's program? I think, Deomi, did you answer this?
What question is that? Can you take it again?
Can someone who did environmental science apply for tech-related course in master's program?
Well, yes, and maybe let me just say small no, but generally yes. There are, for tech programs, there are different programs. There are different courses you can apply for. Okay, for that person, he may not be able to apply for a course like cybersecurity or big data or data analytics, okay, or data science. They might advise that the student applies for maybe something like information technology, business intelligence, business analytics. These are programs that you can look at, because if you don't have prior knowledge or in tech, basically, maybe you didn't study something like computer science, you may not get a place. Okay, but it's not impossible. Some people have they've been self-taught, they've done some short courses and the likes. We can still apply. It's the decision really of the tutors for most programs like this, not just the admissions team. Okay, so we will not say no that you cannot apply, but I would advise that we look at programs like business analytics, IT, not full on.
Dixon, I don't know if you can quickly just someone is asking what the age limit for undergraduate. I want you to take two questions together. What the age limit of undergraduate program is, and what benefits of a co-op program? What are the benefits of a co-op program?
All right. Thank you. So the age limit is as follows. For someone who wants to go for undergraduate programs, you should be at least 18 years old. That's the normal requirement. That's the normal required age for someone who wants to study undergraduate programs. But there is exceptions to those who are 16, 17, thereabouts. And I would say that there's also like a limit to age for those who are way older. Most schools will not take people who are over the age of 25 upwards for bachelor programs. Most schools, but some, however, do. But just so you know, that's just the case, however. So the benefits of co-op programs is that, when you're coming from Nigeria, you're coming from a different country. Obviously, you don't have work experience within this country, UK. You don't have work experience within their locality there. So you don't really know how they go about their work ethics and all those things. So getting a co-op enables you with the opportunity to actually be integrated into their work system. You get an idea of how they operate, and this helps you in the long run in terms of applying for jobs after you've graduated. It helps you to gain every experience you need that would enable companies out there to look at your CV and say, okay, yeah, this person has experience in our country. He knows he has worked in this particular organization within UK. And yeah, we are okay with him and can take him for the job. Thank you.
Right, thank you so much. I feel like it's very possible that if you have a question, it's very possible that I may miss your question. So I'm just going to take once I can see. If we miss your question, please, you can always send us a message or something like that. So I'm just going to take the next one I see here.